Well, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I want to thank you all for coming out. I would be remiss if I did not recognize my friend, the councilwoman for this district, Councilwoman Ellen Robertson. Thank you for joining us today. Almost 1 year ago, I stood on the observation deck of City Hall to announce our plans to seek proposals to redevelop a forgotten neighborhood and to revitalize the underutilized assets in the middle of our downtown, north of Broad Street. The bold goals for this proposal were nothing less to significantly improve the quality of life of Richmond's residents. This is why I insisted from the very beginning that any proposal include the creation of jobs and hiring of minority businesses. That is why I insisted that any development include a significant number of affordable housing units. That is why I insisted on a permanent replacement for the temporary GRTC transfer station so that our hard-working residents can have a measure of comfort and dignity on their daily commutes to and from work. We required that any plan include the historic preservation and adaptive reuse of the Blues Armory, and we imposed one additional very important condition for the RFP, and that is we would not endorse any proposal that would require the city to use its existing tax revenue or debt capacity to fund the project, and we would not support issuing any bonds that would require the city's moral or general obligation to fund any component of the proposal. Meaning, we would not put the city's solid financial footing at risk or compromise its ability to finance its priorities for the future. Ladies and gentlemen, today I am pleased to announce that after 8 months of hard work and very tough negotiations, I believe we have achieved an agreement in principle on all of those goals. And Richmond is one very large step closer to transforming not only its downtown, but the future of neighborhoods, schools, services throughout the city. Now, I will get into some of the specifics in a moment, but I called you here today to let you know that if we are able to successfully resolve several outstanding details in the coming weeks, my administration will be submitting ordinances to the City Council representing an agreement with the nonprofit NH District Corporation to redevelop the Navy Hill neighborhood north of Broad Street. If approved by the City Council, this will easily be the largest economic development project in the history of our city. But more importantly, it will be the largest economic empowerment project in our city's history, one that is driven by our values and puts Richmonders first. So, in the spirit of One Richmond, that is creating a city that works and benefits all of us, with this project, we will create 21,000 jobs. Let me repeat, 21,000 jobs. This will include 9,000 permanent jobs and workforce training opportunities. Less than a mile away from here, a 15-minute walk, is the census tract that encompasses Gilpin Court. There, 75% of our residents live in poverty. This project will offer economic opportunity to thousands of men and women who just need a hand up and not a handout. This project will include more than $300 million in contracts for minority businesses. This will ensure that our talented minority contractors are in the game and not on the sidelines. We will build nearly 680 units of affordable housing, a substantial down payment on our goal to building 1,500 new affordable housing units by 2023. Simply put, we want those who work in this neighborhood to be able to live in this neighborhood as well. We will build a new GRTZ transit center here in the heart of downtown so that residents across our city can have a facility that offers shelter and dignity to the hard-working men and women who use public transit. We will preserve and restore the historic Blues Armory, bringing it back to life as a centerpiece of the newly revitalized neighborhood. And we will reconnect our street grid and raise Lee Street so that we can create a vibrant and walkable neighborhood that links the resurgent Jackson Ward. Employers and those in Richmond's tourism industry have long said that we need an additional convention center hotel that could expand the city's lodging capacity and allow it to compete with other cities for conventions and for events. They estimate that we have lost more than 31,000 lodging nights over the last 5 years to other cities who have more capacity. So this project will include an upscale 500-room hotel with event space, retail, and commercial opportunities. That's a round, yeah. They also said we needed a replacement for the decrepit 46-year-old Richmond Coliseum, which is costing us more than $1.5 million every year just to keep open, and whose maintenance threatens to eat into our limited debt capacity. So, this project includes a state-of-the-art arena that will be the largest in the Commonwealth of Virginia. This asset will allow us to compete not just with Charlottesville and with Norfolk, but with the Charlottes and Nashvilles for major events and revenues that they bring. I know, and I'm sure you already know, that Richmond is every bit the equal of those places. Yes. For years now, achieving these goals, jobs, housing, neighborhood revitalization, and economic development has proved to be elusive. We all know the problem. Our city has many pressing needs, and we do not have the resources to meet all of those needs. We know that the state has shortchanged Richmond Public Schools in education funding, and that same state government, which we are home to as a capital city, has many structures that occupy a substantial portion of our downtown and don't pay any taxes. We can and we are going to demand more. But until that happens, we can't burden our homeowners and residents with more taxes and higher costs. And we can't cut our way to funding our schools, fixing our streets, and delivering the level of services our residents and families deserve. I was elected mayor on the belief of what Richmond can do and what Richmond can become. And today is about what Richmond can do. With this project, we will leverage private investment and underutilized city assets in our downtown to maximize growth that will benefit everyone in our city. This project represents a $1.4 billion investment that does not raise taxes and does not incur financial risk to the city. It will generate an additional $1 billion in additional tax revenue over the next 30 years. And we will use the additional revenues to finance the needs of our neighborhoods, for better schools, for better streets, and for better core services. Simply put, this is a game changer. This is not a project into which we enter lightly. And frankly, the final agreement that we hope to present to council in the coming weeks is very different from the proposal that was submitted to us in January. As you know, my CAO, Chief Administrative Officer, Selena Cuffey-Glenn, our city's attorney office, and top city staff from multiple departments worked with our financial advisors, Davenport & Company, to review and negotiate the proposal. And as you also know, I said publicly, and we said this privately as well, that the proposal as initially presented to us on issues such as affordable housing and minority businesses contracting did not go far enough. We were not going to move forward without substantial changes in these and other aspects of the proposal. As it stands, the $300 million worth of opportunity to our minority businesses in agreement represents more economic opportunity than we have been able to create in the last 10 years combined as a city for minority businesses. The 680 affordable housing units will also represent one of the largest, greatest expansions of affordable housing in our city's history. So, to ensure we were doing everything correctly, to make sure the numbers that we came up with were indeed numbers that would work for the city, we added another layer of due diligence. We directed our financial advisors to hire an outside third party to review the projections and details of this proposal. This included the Tax Increment Finance District, or TIF, that we propose to use to finance the city-owned assets that are part of the project. The independent analysis by Hunden Strategic Partners, which we will provide to you tomorrow, not only confirmed our own analysis, but forecast even greater revenue projections. In fact, based on the analysis of our third party, we believe that this project could provide our city with over $1.7 billion in revenue over the next 30 years. This far exceeds the revenue that would be generated if we did nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a cost for doing nothing. And just to be clear, tax revenue from the proposed TIF district will only go toward paying the debt on the Blues Armory, the arena, and bringing Lee Street up to grade. The developers and bondholders will shoulder 100% of the risk for this project, and not the city. As I said earlier, this plan does not raise taxes on our residents and does not give tax breaks to any entity. I believe that every Richmonder, every neighborhood should share in our prosperity. Not just old Richmond, but new Richmond in all its diversity and emerging talent. For me, this is not about a Coliseum. This is about what the project allows us to do. If we do nothing, we do not create over 20,000 jobs. If we do nothing, we will not build nearly 700 new affordable housing homes. If we do nothing, we will not generate $1 billion in revenue that can be used to make critical investments in our neighborhoods, our schools, our streets, and our services. We must grow the pie so that everyone gets a piece. Either we take the steps and the unique opportunity we have now with this project to make a transformative difference in the lives of our residents, or we do nothing and keep waiting and hoping for all this to happen without any investment needed to really make it happen. So I'm proud of the work of the many people throughout this city who have helped us reach this point today. It is truly a partnership between the public, nonprofit, and private sectors working together. I always say nothing big in this city happens without people working together. And while the work is not yet done, I would be remiss if I did not recognize the determination, focus, and diligence of my team led by our Chief Administrative Officer, Selena Cuffey-Glenn, and the directors. It's a round of applause. The City Attorney's Office led by Alan Jackson and his team, Matt Welch from the Economic Development team, and David Rose, Roland Cooch, and Jimmy Sanderson from Davenport. This project simply would not be possible without the dedication and engagement of our business community. I'd like to recognize and thank Tom Farrell, C.T. Hill, and the Board of NH for forming this nonprofit entity to submit the proposal. And I would like to acknowledge Union Bank CEO John Asbury for his institution's substantial commitment for this transformational project. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, these leaders have not only invested in Richmond, but they also share a love for this great city. They understand the many needs, and they believe, like we all do, in Richmond's potential for greatness. And so I am thankful. Thank you. We also would not have reached today without the support of one of our leading philanthropic organizations in the city, the Community Foundation. The Community Foundation recognized the transformative nature of this project and has committed $5 million to the affordable housing component of this work. So I want to thank Sherry Armstrong for the amazing way the Community Foundation stepped up. Thank you so much. I'd also like to recognize and thank Greta Harris and the Better Housing Coalition for being here today as well, and for their commitment and partnership in the affordable housing component of this project. Thank you, Greta. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an important day for our city. This is a significant opportunity. Now, the cynics out there will point to all the things we can't do. They will point to the projects in the past that were either ill-conceived or poorly timed or poorly executed that never lived up to their potential, and some of that is true. But this is the wrong way to think about our future. This is an old Richmond way of thinking, that Richmond shouldn't try to do great things today and that she can't do great things tomorrow. Well, we can and we will. We're going to do great things. This city has grown, and I'm standing here before you as proof that the Richmond of yesterday is not Richmond of today, or more importantly, of tomorrow. We are changing. We are making progress. And now is the time not to let our past fears define our future opportunities. So, I encourage City Council to take the time it needs to review the agreement once it is submitted, and I encourage the public to ask questions of the developer and of this administration. Everyone will have the chance to kick the tires, as we have, and I'm excited about embarking on this process together. This is a game changer. And this is our time. This is our chance to pass on prosperity to everyone in our city and to secure a better future for our children. So all we have to do now is go out there and make it happen. Thank you.